Growing up, there was a group of guys from my church every Thanksgiving morning who would go out early in the morning and play a turkey bowl, which is just a big football game. And most of the people that played, they were like college, young adults. There was a lot of grown men that came out and played, and there was a few high school students. And I remember the first time I think I ever played, I was like in junior high. So I was by far the youngest one there. So when we showed up and picked teams, I was the last one picked. And throughout the whole game, my team never really let me do anything. On offense, they just had me hike the ball. I was the center. And on defense, they just told me like, hey, hang out in the middle and just kind of patrol that area. But I never did anything. I was never really involved. But that game came down to the last play. And it was like this do or die moment. Our team had the ball. We were like 10 yards from the end zone. It was the last play. If we scored, we won. If we didn't score, we lost. And so we line up, and I'm the center, and I hike the ball to the quarterback. And as the center, I was still an eligible receiver. I could still catch the ball. So I hiked the ball, and I ran this little out pattern. And our quarterback dropped back, and he's looking for somebody to pass to. He's obviously looking to our best players, but everybody's covered. And then I can tell he glances over, and he sees me, and I'm kind of like in the corner of the end zone, and there is no one within like 20 feet of me. No one is around. I'm wide open. But he still won't throw me the ball. It's like I'm a little kid. I might drop it. I might mess the whole thing up. So he's looking around. Can't find anybody else open. The team's rushing him, putting more pressure on him. So finally, out of desperation, because he has no choice, he throws me the ball. And as soon as the ball goes in the air, it's like slow motion. And I remember being there in the end zone. And I dropped to my knees. And I stuck my hands out. And I caught the ball. And I scored the touchdown, and our team won, and it was great. Our team celebrating. They lifted me up. They're cheering for me. It was like the end of Rudy. Just this awesome moment. And the rest of that day, I was just like basking in the glory of my catch and of my victory, and I delivered the win for our team. As people, most of us, if we're honest with ourselves, we live our lives for our own glory. We live it for our own honor. We live it to like have these moments of success, these moments where we win. These moments where we succeed, these moments where we get the things that we want, whatever it is that we want, whether it is some achievement or whether it's just money or a house or status or followers or whatever it is. We live our life for our own honor and our own glory. In these little videos, we're making our way through the book of Philippians, which is a letter that Paul writes while he's in jail in Rome to the church in Philippi. And this is a letter that we have that's in the New Testament. And the theme of this letter is joy. Paul's writing to the church in Philippi in spite of everything he's facing, in spite of everything they're facing, and he's teaching them how to live with joy even in the midst of difficulties. And in Philippians 1, verse 12, here's what Paul says about his own situation. He says, I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that what has happened to me has actually served to advance the gospel. As a result, it has become clear throughout the whole palace guard and to everyone else that I'm in chains for Christ. And because of my chains, most of the brothers and sisters have become confident in the Lord and dare all the more to proclaim the gospel without fear. So as Paul looks at his own life, he says, listen, everything that I'm going through, all the difficulties, yeah, it's not fun. I'm in jail in Rome, waiting to stand trial for my life. It's messed up. But what's happening to me is actually working out good for a lot of other people. And Paul talks about how it's advancing the gospel. The word gospel is the word that the early followers of Jesus used to describe his death and resurrection. It means good news. And the gospel is this message that through Jesus, God is restoring all creation and he's making everything new. Paul says, because of what I'm going through, people are experiencing the power of the gospel and it's changing people's lives. Paul will write to the church in Rome at one point. He'll say that God works for the good in all situations. Paul doesn't say that all things are good, because they're not. Some things are bad. But Paul's saying that even in the midst of these difficulties, God is doing great things in the life of other people. But then if you skip ahead to the middle of verse 18, here's what Paul says about how his present situation is impacting himself. He says, yes, and I will continue to rejoice. For I know that through your prayers and God's provision of the Spirit of Jesus Christ, what has happened to me will turn out for my deliverance. I eagerly expect and hope that I will in no way be ashamed, but will have sufficient courage, so that now as always Christ will be exalted in my body, whether by life or by death. For me, to live is Christ and to die is gain. So the crazy thing is, Paul says, not only is what's happening to me benefiting other people, Paul says, but I also believe somehow it's going to work out for my deliverance. And then Paul shares this phrase. He says, hey, look, no matter what happens to me, here's the truth of my life. To live is Christ and to die is gain. And the reason that Paul has this perspective on his own life and his own difficulties is because Paul doesn't live his life for his own glory. I once heard someone say, and I don't remember who said it honestly, so I can't give him credit, but I once heard someone say that our own personal glory, your and my glory, is far too small of a thing to live for. Because here's the reality when you think about it. I mean, who's still remembering the 1994 Turkey Bowl where I caught this epic game-winning touchdown? No one. No, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. That moment's long gone. See, that's a problem when we live for our own glory, is we're chasing these moments, we're chasing these achievements, we're chasing this stuff, and it never satisfies, it never lasts. See, the reason that Paul lives from this place of perspective is because he lives his life for the glory of God. He lives his life for something that is far bigger than himself, and even in the midst of his difficulties, God is receiving more glory and more honor. If you want to live a life of joy in the midst of difficulties, then you have to live your life for something that's greater than your own glory. Because your own glory is far too small of a thing to live for. Thanks for watching, and we're going to continue these little videos as we make our way through the book of Philippians. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of them, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you'll get notified whenever they come out. But we'll look forward to seeing you again soon, and have a great day.